do you throw parties for strangers?
I mean, I want to give the world fun, bring some joy into this world,
All right. I'm here with Chad Ferrin, and we're talking about Pig Killer, which I watched this morning, and I've seen some disturbing things over the last couple of years. And this is on the top of my list as one of the most disturbing movies, and the fact that this is based on a true story is just even more mind-blowing. But altogether, great job on this movie.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That means a lot.
So my first question is, what made you bring Robert Pickton's life? What made you decide to make a film about this character, this guy?
Well, my producer and friend Jeff Olin introduced me to his friend Kate Patel, who is an actress and wanted to get into producing. And she had this idea that she grew up in Vancouver and was kind of obsessed with this guy. And she pitched the idea over lunch, and I'm like, okay, he sounds right up my alley. I mean, I grew up on a farm like him in the Midwest. I mean, so there were definitely parallels that I could relate to this guy. And I said, well, the most important thing is, do you have access to finance? And she said, well, I think I can raise a few bucks for it. And I said, well, give me a number around, 150, maybe 200, around, something around that $1,000 to make it. And I said, okay, well, I'm interested, and she's like, okay, well, do you want to write a script? Do you want to, I'm like, send me $3,000 and I'll write up a script, because I always kind of money weeds out people. And, if someone's willing to throw at least $3,000 to get it started, I know that at least my time is covered. I went home, read up on the guy, watched a couple documentaries on YouTube, and I'm like, there was so much stuff around his life that was colorful enough that I'm like, okay, this could be pretty cinematic. And I like kind of the white trash elements, as growing up in the Midwest, I'm very familiar with, and the period music of the 80s and 90s can fit in there nice. So, I started getting excited. Her check cleared. I started writing, and 2 weeks later, I had a draft for them. I sent them the script. They liked it. And, a month later, we were shooting.
That's awesome. I mean, I didn't hear about this guy until I heard about this movie.
Right.
Of course, we're getting now, we've gotten all these movies about these famous serial killers like Ted Bundy and all that. So this is great to see this story. And as you put it, you said it yourself, we see that this guy is kind of really messed up. And,
Right.
Even his background, like his relationship with his parents. I mean, It's like, in a way, it's like Amityville Horror, because they're like inside his head. He's hearing the voices, but yet he's seeing them. He sees his mother, who he had this apparently incestuous affair with, and his dad, who was very abusive. And of course, kudos has to go out to Ginger Linnell and Cyril O'Reilly, because those two are legends, and they did an excellent job as the parents.
But yeah, no, they were fantastic. They nailed it.
Jake Busey, I've seen him in some wild, demented roles before. I think this one totally takes the cake, though. I think he was perfect. I don't think you could find any more perfect casting.
No, it's it's one of those things when you did, he didn't come to mind right off the bat. It was just because Jeff Olin was friends with Gary Busey's wife, and he said, hey, I can get the script to Jake Busey. What do you think of him as Willie? And I'm like, oh my God, that's an epiphany. That's great. Send it. And he dug the script, and we met him, and he was a great guy. And it was one of those things where you couldn't think of anyone else playing it. And especially after meeting him and knowing that, he's going to give 100% of himself to this role. It was exciting.
Yeah, I think he gave more than 100% with this role. I mean, he really took the cake on this one. I think if he doesn't get any accolade for this role, I think it's going to be a travesty, quite frankly, because
I agree.
I mean, he just did such a great job. Like, he's just really unhinged, and even the scenes where he's wearing a pig mask, it's like so disturbing. It reminded me of the movie Motel Hell.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I'm taking that's where you got that idea.
Of course. Motel Hell, Deranged, Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, Texas Chainsaw. I mean, with a little bit of Boogie Nights in there, were kind of the inspiration of, the whole thing. And even some Gummo, the white trash elements and, things like that are really just so cinematic if done right, because, you feel dirty. And that's kind of the road we were going down.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we get to see not only his story, but Kate did a great job as the one person who practically survived. Like, he killed all these women, and yet one got away. And I like that we got her backstory as well, because I mean, I'm sorry, her stepmother, and when I watched the movie, I wanted to smack her stepmother so much.
Oh, that's great.
Quite frankly, because I hated her with a passion.
Oh, that's so.
But was it Kate's idea to be, to get in front of the cameras as well when she was cast as Emily?
Yeah, no, that was kind of the whole a big part of the start of the production. She wanted a role, and originally she wanted to play Willie. She wanted to go into makeup and do all this stuff, and I'm open to collaboration with a lot of actors on many things, but I was like, red flags were going off. But I said, look, I'll give you a chance. Put it on tape. Joe Castro, who did our makeup on this film, I gave her his number, and they got in touch to see what makeup-wise she could do to make him look, or make her look like Willie. And he did. She put it on tape, and it was, a good audition, and I applauded her for it. But I was like, we've got to shoot a 120-page script in 12 days, and at least 10 to 15 pages a day. It's going to be a nightmare time-wise to get everything within the script alone, let alone wait 2 hours for you to be into makeup, and then 2 hours for you to get out of makeup in almost practically every scene of the movie. It's just would be impossible. So she finally was like, okay, I understand, but thank you for giving me the opportunity. And and we moved on. But it was one of those things where usually with a lot of scripts, I'll write for an actor that I've worked with before, or kind of have them in mind for a thing. This was kind of a clean slate of performances by actors that again, I had worked with, but I wasn't writing the role specifically for them. It was kind of just seeing who fits best for it. And she had, I then fit her to the Wendy role, and she loved it, and it worked perfectly for her.
Yeah, she did. She did great, and even her scenes with her family, seeing how messed up. Like, I think her dad was trying to be more grounded, but It was the stepmom that was just so pitiful. Like, it looked like an after school special, like the stepmom, the wicked stepmother that want to get rid of her at all costs. And
oh, that's great.
And so it's just like I'm glad that, of course, that the dinner scene was phenomenal, where she finally let everything out and confronted her stepmother, even though she had to get the brunt from her father. But the fact that she stood up to her stepmother, that was a great scene right there. And I think Kate's got potential as a great actress if she keeps going this route.
No, I agree. She was really great. And I think that's the thing, like the dinner scene or that character, a lot of people can relate to. And I mean, I think, having, a messed up family member that rubs you the wrong way, or, there's so many things that you can kind of connect with, and not necessarily focused everything on Willie's character, which is great, of course, but there's other things that the audience can kind of relate to, the friend or the father or whatever it might be, that they have this kind of thing in their own life. And I think that's what makes it a little more colorful to ride through, instead of, a 2 hour, nothing but Willie, darkness and gore. And it's better to have kind of a flowing film that is informative, not only for the true life aspects, but also, just some of the stuff that, whether if you dig the music, you're going to be like, oh, this is a unique way to take it. Or if you like the pig, there's another, there's so many different aspects that are colorful and entertaining that I think that the audience will really kind of enjoy this ride.
I think for me, it felt like if Martin Scorsese were to ever do a slasher film or something, a serial killer film of this nature, I think it would be something similar to this.
Oh, that's an
quote. Yeah, because I felt like with the storytelling, it felt like I was watching something more Martin Scorsese would have done if he did a slasher film. And that's what, and the script really works, because you got to know both Willie and Wendy, and and how they're somehow related. You get, Willie's the one who's obviously a psychopath here, and in her own way, Kate is too. Kate's character, Wendy, is, but
sure.
The fact that she's under drugs and she's been through like hell and back,
right.
But she's a different kind of psychopath, more of a grounded, drug addict type, where
right.
Willie just goes full throttle, and I say that both literally and figuratively, because some of those like as you mentioned, Joe Castro, kudos to him. He's awesome when it comes to special effects.
Completely.
And especially after I saw That's a Wrap earlier this year.
Sure.
That he did. I mean, he hopefully these two films will get him well known, like to a bigger audience. in
Oh,
terms
I
of.
hope so. And he's a great guy. I mean, that is 90% of the thing when you work with someone, whether how talented they are. If they're really talented but an asshole, it's kind of like, okay, well, I think I'd rather find someone who's mediocre talented and great. If there's a line to find things that not only make the experience of making a film enjoyable, but also that it looks good and it's usable. And because sometimes I've worked with effects that they look great, and then you get in the editing room and it's off or something's weird, and it's just like, okay, that didn't work. But with Joe, it's like the past 4 films we've worked on, everything has been top notch, 1 or 2 takes, and he's been great.
Yeah, and you got some great other cast members. Bai Ling had a great cameo as Steve Willie's first victim in this film, and then Michael Pare as Detective Opal. I mean, I love that guy. Anything he does, he elevates him. He can elevate a movie no matter what.
Oh yeah, no, he's great.
And he's just great in this one. And of course, James Russo, that his scene with Jake was mind blowing. So I wasn't expecting what I saw between those two, their interactions. And Lou Temple as Willie's brother, it was just overall, this is a phenomenal cast. I mean, I was like, how did he get all these great legends to like in this one movie? It's just awesome.
No, it was great, and a lot of them had, just such great chemistry with Jake or with whoever they were with, that it was one of those things of you just know that everything clicked, casting wise, which isn't an easy thing. It's 90% fate, and it worked out very well, luckily.
Yeah, I felt the film was definitely authentic, and of course, the very disturbing scenes where we see why Willie's, for instance, where he's going after, he's killing Bai and does what he does, and we see the flashback of him and his mom. I actually jumped back and was like, did I really just see that happen? It was just insane. But I feel like it brought like the real like true story of his, what he went through, and
right.
We could see why he did what he did. He's like I could call him the Ed Gein of Canada, basically.
Exactly. No, it's very fitting. And it was trying to paint, a thing with Jake of, I said, don't play him as a villain. In his mind, he's, the hero. So, you got to kind of just, instead of, this creepy little guy who's doing these sinister things, take it more of, he's got to have some bravado and something interesting and some charm. Even having a smelly pig farm or whatever it must be, there is something that's attractive, and Jake was able to bring that to life and really make it not only you want to watch this guy, you don't hate him necessarily, you're kind of in the middle with him, you're going on this ride with him, which I think was a great way of, again, kudos to him for having to going with that instead of playing it just kind of a crazy psycho in a trailer.
Especially in the bar scenes, because that's where we get to see that's where we see the charming side of him. We're sitting at the bar,
sure,
getting to know, talking to these people. He just seems like this. Like at first glance, you're like, this is the last guy you ever expect to be like this lunatic, and then of course and then of course all hell breaks loose. But I mean, overall, great job. My next question is, how long did production take, and did you face any challenges during production?
It was about a month of pre-production to cast and find locations and everything, and then it was a 12-day shooting schedule, and it was edited in about a month, and then post sound and music was about 2 months, and then we played festivals for about 6 months, and then we got a distribution deal, and now here we are. I mean, I'm trying to think. It was really one of the smoothest shoots I've ever had, and nothing really. The pig was great. No problems with her. I mean, everything was pretty magical.
That's what I was thinking. Like, we're thinking the pig might have maybe caused a little ruckus on the set, but
right.
I mean, hearing that, especially if a pig was on the set and everything went smooth, I can't complain. I'm not gonna say anything. It's worth it. It was definitely. But overall, fantastic movie. I mean, I think people need to check this out, especially those who love true crime serial killers. And yeah, they may get a little grossed out at certain scenes, but
right.
you gotta remember, this is a true story of a guy who actually did this. And it's so with that said, what's next for you on the horizon? Is there anything new that's cooking?
Yeah, I'm in pre-production right now for H.P. Lovecraft's Beyond the Wall of Sleep, starring Eddie Furlong, Bai Ling, Jake Busey, Ginger Lynn, Susan Prever, Robert Miano, Steve Railsback, and we shoot early December, and I'm really excited. It should be fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, the cast like that, I'm definitely going to start to check that one out when it's ready. Definitely,
Well,
for sure.
We'll get it to you, for sure.
Awesome. So, Pit Killer is coming out this Friday. And those who like true crime stories and also like a taste for the most insane and gore and disturbing will definitely want to check this one out, because this is, I'm calling him the Ed Gein of Canada. This is the story of this guy. And Chad, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Oh, thanks for having me, and thanks for watching, audience. Thank you.
All right. Well, take care and have a good day.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.